Alrighty, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering Robert Lyons. Now, Robert Lyons here is, he was caught in the Riverside CA thing, and he is known for being one of the youngest people ever caught in this show. It's genuinely surprising how young he actually is. So when we go over that, we're going to see, we're going to be pretty amazed at it. But other than that, let's just hop right to it. Oh, also, actually, I lied. He is currently listed in violation of the California RSO, which is, Riverside CA. He's listed in violation because he moved to Arizona. I'm editing this right now, and I misspoke during this part. So, Robert Lyons moved to Arizona, and Arizona is one of the states that does not show Tier 1 offenders, which most of the people caught in Riverside are Tier 1. But he moved to Arizona, where Tier 1 offenders are not on the public RSO list. But other than that, let's hop into it. Oh, and thank you to Saul for uploading this.
Hey, you out there?
Hi.
Hey, let me finish brushing my teeth real fast, okay?
What happened?
Dell. She's playing a boy in this one. Lyons went for a boy.
Hey, you out there?
And
Hey, let me finish.
Dell, I know Dell doesn't actually go face to face with the guy coming in, but just put a hat on and you're a boy. I don't know, I always just found that a little funny. Or throw in this $3 wig I got from a Halloween set.
Finish brushing my teeth real fast, okay?
What happened?
I got crap stuck in my teeth.
Your feet.
We were watching from the next room.
Young people are known to have very bad hearing, by the way.
Room on the monitor as Robert Lyons came into the backyard and started to open the sliding door to come into the kitchen.
Just hang out at the kitchen counter for a second, okay?
What happened?
Do you want to...
Look at how long he was standing at the back door, and he still thinks, yeah, I'll enter this house. This house where I heard some ominous voice that I cannot see from who knows where in the house, and I could not understand what they were trying to say. Yeah, let me walk in. And why are they having me go to the side door? Ring cameras weren't a thing yet.
A drink or something?
No, it's okay.
All right, just hang out at the counter. I gotta go get my shirt on.
Hang on tight.
Sit down at the counter for a second. I gotta go get my shirt on.
Ignore how it says... Ignore that it says 68, alright? He's not 68.
He was leery, suspicious, and sneaky looking. He kind of looks in and peers around, and as it turned out, Lyons had good reason to be suspicious.
Yeah, he's entering a house from the back door or the side door? I think it's the side door. Into a house he's never been in, with this ominous voice calling out, and there's a curtain covering it, so you can't actually look in. You have to peek in. Suspicious is a bit of an understatement there, Chris. And yes, he has reason to. But what else does he have reason to?
It wasn't his first time down this path.
Robert Lyons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's lewd or lascivious acts with a child 14 or 15 years old. So, same sort of sex crime. Robert Emmett Lyons. What's crazy is...
His middle name is Emmett. That is quite impressive. But yeah, he's a repeat offender. I didn't know that. I gotta skim over these predators a bit better before I go over them. But yeah, this guy, here's this young, hip, repeat offender here.
He says check this out, he says in the chat that he is 28, right?
Right.
That ain't no 28.
There's no way he's 28.
Nah, man, he's 28, dude. I don't know what you guys are talking about here. Look how hip and young he is.
In fact, he was 68 years old. Now, we see a lot...
Alright, so yes, he is 68 years old. And I believe he's also the oldest person ever caught. He was born in 1937. August 23rd, 1937 he was born. He was quite literally born in a different era. He is older than most of the people on this show. He's older than most of their parents. It is insane how old this man is. 37. And he's saying he's 28. He took away 40 years of his life off the age that he told that decoy. You know, even a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, 12-year-old, however old the decoy said they were, would be able to look at him and be like, wow, you look a lot like the old people I see in the mobility scooters at the store. I don't think you're 28.
A lot of fibbing online about ages, but it's usually 5 or 10 years. You know, not 40 years.
This is his picture, right? That's his sex offender registry picture.
That looks 28, man.
It's the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is the same.
When you think that
That might be the longest that Dell has ever been on camera on TCAP, and the most words she's ever spoken to the camera. Because she said words to, like, guys getting in the house, like Peter Sakea, the Don Cheech. But she doesn't really speak that often to the actual camera, as far as I know. And if this is Frag back here, which I don't know if it is, but if that's Frag, did he ever speak on TCAP? I don't know if he did.
Yeah.
Everything is the same.
when you
I don't think
that
that was
this
Frag
guy
back
had
there.
just recently pleaded guilty to having sex with an underage boy, that he had the guts to tell somebody who was 40 years younger than he really was, and then to follow through on the chat by actually showing up. I mean, it's stunning. What was your plan here today, Robert?
No plan.
No plan at all. You know, I've got the transcripts of your conversation here.
I'm sorry?
I've got the transcripts of your conversation here.
Chris, you gotta speak up. This young guy, his ears don't work too good, alright? He doesn't have his hearing aids yet.
You say to him,
The fuck was that? What the there's no sound. My sound isn't cutting out here. There's just genuine, like, he just isn't making a sound. There's still sound from the clip.
you say to him,
Yo, dude, Robert, what was that? I imagine you're nervous right now. But you can stomach out a couple of words. All right, you can say something. All right, defend yourself. Make a stupid excuse even. Let me hear it.
I'll be your girlfriend and you be my boyfriend, huh? He says, are you a girl? You say, nah, sometimes I wish I really was. He says, what do you wear? You say, panties, bra.
Oh. That was my Discord ping. I don't remember that. I didn't read his chat yet. I'm going to go skim over it real quick. Alright, so I'm going to read the entire chat log once I go over his time with Chris here, like I always do. But I didn't know this. Robert here is Pavlov 1234. And the part that Chris just read was, I'll be your girlfriend and you'll be my boyfriend. And the decoy says, huh? And Robert says, LOL, never mind is cool. And then the decoy asks, are you a girl? And then Robert says, nah, sometimes I wish I was. Then please don't tell anyone, okay? And then he says, but not all the time. Well, you don't want to be a girl? Only sometimes. I'm not saying anything, I'm not saying anything while saying anything, but I'm not saying anything here. But I didn't know that. Would that technically make Robert trans? Is he, I don't know too much about that, but would that technically make him trans? I don't know, and I'm not gonna continue on that point because I feel like if I say too much, I'll be shot. Anyways, back to it.
It's a pretty sexually charged conversation, Robert, to have with a 13-year-old boy. What conclusion am I?
How long is that fucking chat, dude? How many pages you got there?
Just conversation that probably was offhanded.
What it sounds like, Robert, is that you wanted to come here to have a...
He wanted to come.
Sexual liaison with a 13-year-old boy.
No, that was not my intention.
What was your intention?
Just to.
That wasn't my intention. Dude, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what you're talking about in that chat log. To, draw parallels. Even if you don't say anything directly, people understand hints quite well. Especially when they read it after the fact. They can understand a hint quite well.
To have a sexual liaison with a 13-year-old boy.
No, that was not my intention.
What was your intention?
Just to talk, whatever.
The problem...
Yeah, just to talk. What were you talking about in the chat room, man? Why can't you just talk there? Why do you have to come here? Oh, wait, it's because you don't want to just talk. You want to have a good time with your little 13-year-old.
Robert, is that your history would contradict that, given the fact that you are a registered sex offender. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And what were you convicted of before?
Lewd conduct.
Lewd conduct. Specifically, what was that conduct?
With a minor.
With a minor. What did you do with a minor?
Sexual.
Sexual. In what?
Nice. So, he's a repeat offender. He's doing the exact same thing he was doing. Who knows how many years ago? Who knows how long ago he started? Who knows how long he did this afterwards? Now he's in Arizona where the RSO list isn't public. Who knows what he's up to? Literally no one in TCAP actually knows what he is up to. Joey might have an idea, but I'm not too sure on that. I've seen him say some things about, he's figured out a little bit, but it's not like, this isn't like someone like Vincent where we know everything. Also, fun fact, Vincent just got out of prison a couple of months ago, and his new RSO pick came out, and that motherfucker is big.
Way sexual.
There was intercourse.
Intercourse.
Oh.
So you had intercourse with a underage boy.
Yes.
Even though we do...
So open to just saying what he did. He genuinely doesn't see this as wrong. He just sees it as like something, it's a desire he doesn't have control over. It's like an untrained dog in front of their food. You ever get like a new dog and you drop a piece of food and he runs over and you're trying to get him away from it? And, he just can't help it, but he's got to just go for it. He has just uncontrollable urges. This 28-year-old, 27, however old he wants to be, dumbass.
Do as much background research as we can on these guys. There are still certain things that you only find out once you're face to face and you can have a discussion. So you were convicted of that. How long were you in prison?
I'm sorry?
How long were you in prison for that offense?
I wasn't in prison.
You weren't in prison.
Oh. How the fuck does he not get jail time? What? How do you not get jail time? I gotta hear what he says.
You got probation?
Correct.
How long were you on probation?
I'm still on probation.
You're still on probation now. So you're on probation.
There are many ways I can take my next statement. But the fact that, and this is an issue I see today, I've known people who, do something fucking stupid, and then they don't go to jail, and then they continue to do this stupid shit. I know people like that. It's gonna make me sound a bit like an asshole here, but I believe in like harsh punishments, long sentences. I believe in, harsh on crime policies. Because look at fucking Robert here, dude. He gets probation for one of the heinous acts that 95% of people agree is horrible. And then he just goes out and do the same fucking thing while still on probation.
For having sex with a boy, how old?
15.
15. And now you're in this house to meet a 13-year-old boy. How does that look, Robert?
I didn't know he was 13.
He said...
Oh, come on, dude. Shut the fuck up. Don't even start to give me that bullshit of, I didn't know. Yes, you did, man.
So, he was just coming over to talk and hang out. He was not going to deviate.
The fuck is that picture right there? What the fuck? What is that? I know that's like a shirt. Is that another arm? Is that a head? I don't know.
From the script, one bit. He was going to stick to his story until the bitter end. What would have happened if I wasn't here, Robert?
I don't know. We probably would have talked and gone and met up, that's it.
And talked.
Just have a conversation. That's what I do when I go over to someone's house who I want to have sex with. After having a very salacious conversation with them, it's just talk. Just talk. Don't do anything. Don't talk about, anything that we were talking about online. Just, talk about the fucking Steelers and the Ravens or something.
Met up, is that what you did with the 15-year-old boy in the last case?
I made a mistake of just doing it. And I didn't even know he was 15. He told me he was 18.
Oh, God. Again, he obviously didn't tell you he was 18. Obviously said 15. Or 13. Obviously said 13. Oh, I didn't know. You can't tell a 13-year-old apart from an 18-year-old. The way they write, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they act, who they are, the way they look. You can't notice a difference, dude.
What did you learn from your previous mistake?
Nothing.
I learned to be more careful, more astute, stay away from...
More careful. Not more careful in the sense of, not making any new victims, but more careful in the sense of tread lightly.
Or not to be subjective to either proposition or making propositions to anybody.
But Robert, you're in a home trying to meet a 13-year-old boy. You had to register as a sex offender.
Correct.
Do you see a counselor?
Correct.
You do. And when was the last time you saw your counselor?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Did you talk about your sexually charged conversation?
Dude last saw his counselor a fortnight ago. 2 weeks. And he just ignores what he learned there or was being told. He just ignores it. Counseling really doesn't do that much because the people already typically know right from wrong. And having some person with a master's degree from, some college no one's ever heard of saying, oh, well, that's bad, Robert. That doesn't help. They already know. They just don't care.
Conversation on the internet with a 13-year-old boy?
No.
Why did you tell 13-year-old Luke that you were 40 years younger than you actually are?
Because I think the internet is a place where you just... It's always been a pretension.
A pretension.
You pretend to be this, you pretend to be that, but it's not really.
Persona. Robert is kind of right on that. A lot of people online will have... Sorry, my window's open. It's nice out. People online will tend to have a different personality from who they are in real life. They might even not, say who they are. No one on this that's ever going to see this is going to know who I am. And that's fine. I don't need to be known. But, I'm still me, though. I don't lie and say, oh, I'm 20 instead of 25, or, oh, I do this instead of that. No, I'm still me, though. But I'm not, outwardly me. I don't know. He kind of makes sense there, but at the same time, he's kind of fucking retarded.
Is this pretend what you're doing here today?
No.
It seems pretty real to me.
This was real.
Yeah, it's real.
You showing up here was real, yeah.
What do you say?
This was real.
Yeah, it's real.
You showing up here was real, yeah.
I genuinely have no idea what he said. I'm going to see if the captions caught it.
Real to me.
This was real.
Yeah, it's real.
You showing up here was real, yeah.
You show up here with your video. I kind of heard that too. But what you don't know the cameras are there yet. You can kind of assume. I mean, he has a mic on. But it's, if you need someone to threaten to embarrass you on national TV to recognize you're doing something wrong, it's not, you don't recognize it as wrong. You recognize the embarrassment and backlash from it.
So what does that say about your ability to distinguish between what is pretend and what is real?
There's a fine line between that. It's kind of a...
What could happen to you now as a convicted sex offender?
Correct.
Showing up here. What should happen to you?
I'm not really sure. Probably more.
He knows what he wants. He knows what he should say, but he doesn't have the gall to say it. Oh, I should go to jail for a long, long time, like JPW. I should be in jail for who knows how long. But no, oh, I don't know. He's going to say the same thing Dan Allen would. I'd like to run away and cower from, the consequences of my actions.
Or enforcement of my counseling.
Well, Robert, I've got to tell you something.
The counseling needs to do something. I didn't really hear what he said. He said a long time to say it. But my counseling needs to do something. No, you need to do something. All right, you are, one of the few people in control of yourself, and you do have full control over your actions, and you can act better, Robert.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators. If there's anything else you'd like to say to us, we'd like to hear it. If not, there's obviously nothing I can do to keep you here, and you're obviously free to go. He knows he's in significant
Look at how brisk that young man is hustling out of there.
trouble. I mean, if you go back and look at the record from the previous case,
Just drop it.
it would appear
Throw your keys down.
that
That's all
he perhaps got probation instead of prison time, because the 15-year-old boy he pleaded guilty to having sex with told him he was old,
How old? 68?
and he wasn't going to catch a break on this one because it said in the transcript this boy was 13.
Robert Lyons. Yeah. Oh, I had somebody else.
Clearly he's had experience going through the criminal justice system, but it became pretty clear immediately during the police interview that Lyons knew his way around the system. And
Alrighty, so that was his interview with Chris. I don't know if his interrogation is out there. Might have to cover it sometime. But here we go. I'm going to cover his chat log, and the first message takes place December 17th of 2005. Wow. That's Dan Allen started on Christmas. Huh. But he opens it up with, "You down for getting head? I am me if you is. $signs." And the decoy responds, "I want a boyfriend." And Robert responds, "Cool. Oh, cool. Me too. How old are you?" 28. Decoy says 13 Riverside. Robert says Ontario. There is an Ontario, California. I didn't know that until not too long ago. I was looking at something. It's like, oh, this is in Ontario. Wow, it's not far from me. And then it's Ontario, California, because CA, California, CA, Canada. The decoy then asks, "What does the $sign mean?" And Robert responds, "It means I give money to blow." Pay? Yeah, why? Because I got that money, and I don't mind. So it's like, alright, you're flexing that you have expendable income to a 13-year-old. I don't know if that's exactly the flex you think it is. I wonder what car he showed up in. That would have been nice to know. So they trade pictures, and David says the decoy looks like a doctor, and says LOL. And the decoy says, "No, then I can cure AIDS." And then Robert says, "You look smart and cute. That's so cool, man. I don't have AIDS, and I'm not getting it." He then says, the decoy then asks Robert, "What do you do?" And Robert says, "I'm a building engineer. I do property management for a lot of big companies." Now, those are two different career paths. A building engineer? Let me Google that real quick. Okay, so it looks like building engineer. This is the Wikipedia page for building engineer. Yeah, it's just architectural engineering. I mean, '05. I mean, it could have been called something else. Who knows? But I also saw something that it's about like HVAC and kind of like maintenance or facilities. So, I don't know. Just found that neat. Robert says, "Yeah, I graduated from Cal State," and says, "I hope you go to college." Diego says, "I will. I get all A's, but don't know where now because I wanted U of M, but now we live here." A lot of this so far is Robert saying, like, "Yeah, man, it's cool. You're going to do good." Like, Dico's talking about, like, going to school and stuff, and, like, you got to concentrate on being a doctor. But then says, "Yeah, I like you, man." And he says, "I'm Kevin. The decoy said his name was David, but, Robert responds, I'm Kevin. Cool to meet you, David. The decoy asks, you're hot, why don't you got a boyfriend? And Robert says, don't got time, man. Busy. I travel all over Southern Cal. And the decoy says, so you just pay for sex? And he responds, you pretty hot yourself. So for a second, I was kind of thinking, he realized that this person was younger, and he was like, okay, let me just say some basic things like, do good in school, stuff like that, and bail. But then he started to form an attachment. Because obviously, he opened with you down for getting head and IM me if you is, dollar signs. But who knows how old the decoy was at that time? I don't know if, on the decoy's profile, if it said that, because I don't see a screenshot of it in my file. So they're talking a little bit more, and they exchange pictures, and Robert says, you so cute, foo. And the decoy says, you don't got no more, let me check, hang on. And then the decoy, when I first read this, I didn't know, I thought Robert sent this, but it was the decoy. The decoy says, wow, you're so hot, I got like boned, because it looked like at first you're naked. Nekid. And then Robert responds, hee hee, you got boned. Wow, I wish I saw it, hee hee. As it opened, looked like you might be naked. Smiley face, smiley face. And then Robert says, I don't like sending naked pics. I get embarrassed. And the decoy says, I wish I had some. And then Robert says, nah, man, you might get in trouble, foo. Trouble spelled Trubl. Decoy then asks Robert, so we can be like BF or you pay me to? And Robert says, yeah, if you want, that's cool. Decoy then says, well, how much do you pay? And Robert responds, I'm a bottom guy. $80. $80 for some relationship? I'm not sure if I understand that. But then the decoy says, wait till I get a boyfriend for that. $80? That's a ton. $80. I filled up my truck earlier. It was $75. $5 more, and I could have paid to be this 13-year-old boyfriend. Oh man. So I'm not gonna read all this because it's just a whole lot of just basic conversation. But they're talking about the money, and the decoy's like, oh, are you just gonna send me the money? And Robert's like, yeah, I can. And then says, real love is not measured by money. It's measured by the kindness and caring of each other. And, he's right about that. One thing I've tended to notice is that, in one thing, I hate to say this, but poor people tend to be a bit happier with their marriage that I've seen. I live in a very wealthy area, and I see a lot of very wealthy people that fucking hate who they're married to. And it's like, wow, you guys sound miserable. Alright, so here's that part earlier that I came in here for. Let's go over it again. Decoy says, I see lots of pics here of guys and girls stuff. Of guys in girls stuff. And Robert responds, LOL, and the decoy says, you do that? And Robert says, I'm embarrassed sometimes. And David says, you like it? And Robert says, I don't know. Would you like me to wear them? Decoy says, I've never tried it. And he says, it feels weird. Decoy asks what you wear, and he said, panties bra. I know this might not be the best time to throw this little fun fact in about me, but one time for Halloween, when I think I was like 12, maybe a little younger, I went as a girl. So I put on a dress, I put on a wig, I might have had makeup on, and I wore like feminine open toe shoes. And my friends came to my door, and I answered the door, and they're like, "Oh, is Sean here?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, guys?" And apparently they didn't recognize me. I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm not gonna say anything less. But then Robert says, "Nah, you hate me, don't you?" And he says, "No, I like you lots." And he responds, "Okay, thanks, David. I don't have many friends." Decoy then says, "I don't got any." And he says, "Yeah, you do. You got me, foo." Aw. Decoy then asks, "You got pics and girl stuff?" LOL, no, man. Decoy says, I just see guys in dress, that's it. Would you go to bed with me if I was wearing panties? JK. There's that ha JK thing again that I see so much in these chat logs. But then Decoy says, you really want me to go to bed with you like your boyfriend? He says, I don't know. Do you? Decoy says, I don't care if you wear girl stuff. He says, no, I won't. But you like it. Lol, not all the time. I do what you want. You should do what you want to do. I don't know what to do. Oh well, it will happen. Huh. You know, so far, the chat log is very tame. Like, I feel like, you know, he's very much wrestling with himself here. He's very much wrestling with what's going on, with who he is, who he isn't. And, you know, he's trying to figure out life right now, and he's 68. He realized, you know, 68 years old, and he still doesn't know. So it's, I don't know, a little interesting here. Not making any defense or excuses for the guy. He still did something that was very much wrong. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's weird. I'm getting a weird feeling reading this. I'm getting a feeling that, like, you know, I kind of regret being a little mean to him when I was going over the, this time with Chris. But then I remember he is fully aware of what he's doing is wrong. So this is now January 2nd. They went like 2 weeks without talking. But then they were talking about going shopping and stuff. And the Decoy says, well, ask, did you buy a dress? And Robert says, no, I didn't. LOL. I changed my mind. Decoy says, I've been thinking and I want to try it with you. Try what? I like girls' clothes. Oh, LOL. No, don't. I was just messing, man. Decoy says, really? Question mark. And he responds, yeah, I used to think about it, but not anymore. Oh, I just want you to like me. And Robert responds, really? Oh, David, I'm gonna cry. You're so sweet. I do like you. I really do. You like to kiss? Decoy says, I've never done it. And Robert responds, it's good. I'll show you how to French, LOL. So far, you know, it's really not that, you know, graphic. I mean, French kissing is the worst thing he's talked about. But I can already see something more as I scroll down. I'm not going to read this part because the decoy is being a little graphic and it's a little weird. But Robert responds, really, you a coming machine. That's good. You can come in my mouth. Decoy responds, I do what you say. Robert says, no, I don't want to do what you... No, I want to do what you want to do. So that's really about it for his conversation here. I don't know why Chris was flipping through so many damn pages. But, you know, that's the end of the chat. All the meeting stuff was done by the verifier, who I don't know if the phone calls are out there. I'll have to snoop around a little bit. But yeah, the verifier General Sao did all the work getting him to the house. But yeah, and he's a second-time offender. Here's a list of everything he was charged for. Looks like it was 4 charges. Or maybe only 3, because only 1 says guilty. I don't know, but yeah, lewd act with a child, 14 or 15. So yeah, but yeah, it's you know, his chat really wasn't that bad. And it's very interesting that he did a lot of the work by phone, because, you know, I can't read a phone call. And phone calls are a lot more difficult to skim through and go through, and even just recording a phone call is actually quite difficult if you don't have a second machine to record it. Anyways, that's about all I got for you today. This is definitely a bit of a shorter one. My total recording is 46 minutes. So it's going to be a bit of a shorter one. But if you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Skate fast, need ass. Bigger number, bigger, better.